Hello internet, back again, trying a new camera setup. We'll see how I feel about it. So things have been going well, but fairly uneventful. So today I decided to do more of a general video just talking about things that I love about living here, things that I don't love so much. And some of these are like very much just our experience. They're not like in general here in Scotland or in the UK. Some of them are really specific to our situation, but it's my video, so I do what I want. I'm gonna do like a top 5, bottom 5 for our move, for our lives, for our particular situation that we love about living here in Scotland and that we are not so fond of. Let's start with not favorite things because then we can end on a positive note. Haha. So not favorite things, starting out. We don't have like a real dryer, and this is not great. I'm not really a fan of not having a dryer. And back in the US, we had like a really big, like normal tumble dryer. It worked pretty well, and it's like you could remember, oh man, we need to wash this or whatever, and like within 3 hours, like it could be washed, dried, ready to wear, bedding, whatever. Not the case here. So we have an electric like condenser dryer that's actually part of the washer. Like it'll wash and then it's supposed to dry after that. And we tried it once when we first moved into this flat, and that was the last time we tried it. It was like drying for like 3 hours, and we pulled out the clothes and nothing had happened. So it's a little bit unclear as to whether it's like broken or if it just sucks. But we did like Google it, and everybody on the internet was like, oh, don't bother with those. Just get clothes horses. And we already had one clothes horse in the apartment, so we bought 2. And now everything is, we just air dry everything, which doesn't seem like it would work because it's, you know, obviously really humid here in Scotland, but so far it actually works fine. Just you cannot wash something right before you want to wear it. So we have to be really on top of laundry, which is probably good for us. Another thing that we are not crazy about would be the food situation. And by that I mean the lack of Mexican food. By that I mean the lack of Tex-Mex slash, what would you call like Costa Vida? That's what we really miss. And like tortilla chips, like a big bag, like the brown bags of like Mission brand tortilla chips. They do not sell those here. You can find tortilla chips, but they're in small bags and they like taste gross. They're like really salty and weird, and yeah. So we do make like Taco Tuesday. Every Tuesday we have Taco Tuesday. And so, you know, like you can find refried beans and you can find salsa, and obviously they have cheese and stuff like that. But it's like, we really miss being able to go out to like Costa Vida or, you know, Cafe Rio if that's your jam. Another thing that's kind of specific to our situation is that we don't have a bathtub. And the sad thing is, back in Ogden, our bathtub was disgusting. Like our bathroom hadn't been updated in years, and the whole thing was like really gross. But it's like, you know, sometimes you just want a relaxing bath, and that is just not an option here because we only have a shower, and it's a very small shower. And also, I used to do like my hand wash laundry in the bathtub, and now I don't have that option, which kind of stinks because I have a lot of clothes that are like, if you try and wash them in the washer, you'll regret it. It's already happened. I already dyed one of my favorite shirts slightly pink. We had a rescue mission, and things are coming along, I'm happy to say. So on to like a slightly more drastic note of things that are a struggle. I don't have a job, which is kind of nice, I guess. That could go on the good list as well. And I could find a job, I'm sure. Like I look off and on, but it's like, it's really hard to find like a real job without a network. And it's like, I remember all the time growing up, you'd hear like, oh, networking is key in jobs. And it's like, I knew that, but you don't realize like how much that matters until you don't have a network anymore. So that's really difficult. Trying to look for like a real job where you can feel like fulfilled and happy without like having any connections. Like I could probably go find like a job at a shop, but it's like, then we wouldn't really be able to have adventures because I'd be working all these hours at like a really non-fulfilling job, which I realize is like the most first world problem ever, but it is what it is. And then of course, number 5, of course, it's really hard to leave all of your family and friends, not just like your network, but your peeps. And so we obviously miss all of you guys, and we send our love, and we think about you all the time. One nice thing though has been that I feel like a lot of my friends over the past like 5-6 years have moved outside of Utah anyway. And so I'm probably in better touch with some of my friends now than I was when I lived in Utah. So all my friends who've reached out and said hello, I love you guys and I miss everyone. And yeah, sappy. So let's move on to some happier things. The best things about being here. So I mentioned food as being one of the low points, but it's also, of course, one of the high points, which is kind of how food always goes, because you've got your food that you love, and then you go somewhere else and they don't have those foods, but then they have other foods that are also delicious, and you realize that you're really lucky to be able to try like all this random stuff. It's kind of weird how just different like even like processed food is in other countries. It just seems like, shouldn't everybody just have like the same bags of whatever candy or whatever, but they don't, and that makes it kind of fun. In some respects, there's definitely, you can find American candy here. And I've even seen like American candy stores. We've never been in one, but we could probably find even more things there. Like this morning, I realized like I have not seen a Swedish fish since we moved here, which is not that big of a deal to me because those aren't exactly my favorite, but it's weird. They have really good candy here. Like there's this company, Tunnix, and it's basically our life, and we eat everything that they have every day. No, we don't. Close. And they also have like a really cool like national soda basically in Scotland called Iron Brew, and I'm pretty sure you can't really find it other places. So if we ever leave this beautiful land, that might be the end of my love of Iron Brew. The sugar addiction lives on, let's just say. So working on that. I'm not working on it. Moving here also gave us the chance to really downsize, which has been awesome. We had so much stuff in our house in Ogden, so much stuff that we didn't ever use or do anything with, and it just sat in our second bedroom and was just like a huge pile of stuff. And so when we moved here, we had to majorly downsize, and we left a ton of stuff in my brother's basement. Shout out to my brother and his family for doing that. That was so cool of them. We were able to get it down though to like a really small amount of things that we left there. Everything else that we brought fit in 4 suitcases, 2 of which are actually really small suitcases. One that's like a medium size, and we only had 1 big suitcase because we just used the suitcases that we had. We were like, okay, this is it. And then when we got here, we did open like an Amazon UK account, and we bought like a few things just to kind of fill up the house or the flat. And it is a really small little flat, and it's like has stuff in it, but nothing that we don't need. And that's so nice. It's the best feeling. I do miss our mattress though, because the mattress in this flat is terrible. We also love the weather here. It's been a mild winter. I don't know if that's abnormal or normal, but it really hasn't got that cold. Some days it has, but most days it's not that cold. Hasn't really snowed a whole lot. When it does snow, it doesn't stick. It was snowing like 20 minutes ago. You wouldn't be able to tell. And it rains a lot, which I love rain. And the summer, we got here in August, and it was never really like that hot. It's just kind of mild. It's very similar to like the Pacific Northwest, which is awesome. Like that's totally me. I also love being able to walk everywhere. You know, that European vibe where it's like you live in the city. And I feel like huge portions of Americans don't really live in a city at all. And that's true here too. Like there are definitely a lot of people who live outside of the cities, but there's just a little more of that vibe. Like even small towns it's just different than even like a small town in the US. Like obviously I lived in Eagle Mountain for a few years. Like that's literally a giant suburb. Like it's not even a real city. Sorry, Eagle Mountain fans. It's not even a real city. Literally it's not. It's just houses and like a billion churches. Oh, I do love Eagle Mountain though in some ways, but it's so nice. We love it here. We walk to get our groceries. We don't have to have a car. The public transport obviously is awesome. You can get basically anywhere. We walk like everywhere, and there is a corner store that's like 10 steps away. And then of course the number one thing that you have to love, which kind of encompasses like everything else that I love about being here, is just the culture. Like people here are awesome. Everyone is super nice and they're hilarious. They're really sarcastic, and thankfully we don't have too hard of a time understanding people. Every now and again we will, especially if we're in a situation where there's a lot of background noise, whatever, it can be a little difficult. But people here are hilarious, and they just use like, all these crazy words, or like words that I know, but they use them in like a very different way, which I think is normal for, all cultures, but it's just hilarious. And people do, I don't know, like I feel like the UK is very much like philosophically and physically like between the rest of Europe and the US. Like there's a lot that I can latch onto as an American in this culture, but there's also a lot that's kind of fun. So you don't feel too much of an outsider. You feel like you can kind of approach it and kind of get it, like you can kind of understand it, but at the same time it's different, and that's so fun. And of course, there's like museums everywhere and just a different aesthetic, a different vibe, and yeah, people are very cool here and we love it here. And hearts to everybody back in Utah and elsewhere in the US, and all my friends all around the world. Love you all. Have a great one. Bye.